Welcome back to a rather warm Simon's shed. It's been a boiling hot day, but it's time to give you another update on the SVR layout. Coming up, downward spiral, slight change of plan, lots more track laying, and a hard-working pannier tank. What we have here then is the beginnings of a Helix. You remember way back when I started thinking about this new layout, I was going to have two Helixes and run trains up and down to different levels. And you may have seen one of the old videos where I did a test and couldn't really get satisfactory results in terms of getting trains climbing up the way I wanted them to climb up. Puts quite a lot of demands on how many coaches it should pull up the hill and so on, and it just was nowhere near doing it. So by that time I'd already built this Helix. I was planning to do a whole sort of how to build a Helix video or two, but as I dropped that idea from the layout, I didn't bother with that. I am going to have a Helix, but it's only ever going to be used for trains going this way down. Nothing will ever have to climb up this, and I've just measured the sort of perimeter and the height drop. So I've got a drop of 100 mil, which is about 4 inches, and it's over 2 meters of track would be on there. So 10 divided by 2 is 5, so 5 centimetre drop in 100 centimetres, which is 1 in 20, which is obviously way too steep for anything to climb up, but I think it'll be fine for trains to run down. And if I'm wrong, I will rip it all out and think of another idea. I just think that as soon as I've built this, I may as well use it and try it. And it's going to be like a 15, if I lay the track around this outside edge, it's going to be a 15-inch radius, which is pretty generous. As I say, it's got 2 whole meters of track to get down, so I think it'll be fine. I've done some tests on a steeper gradient, and that was all fine, although that is straight. So I think as long as we get the transition from the flat bit at the top onto the slope nice and gentle, I think we'll be okay, but we'll soon find out. So yeah, just very briefly, all I did is get some sheets of MDF to build this. You just stick a screw or a nail in the middle and a bit of string, get your pencil and you just draw, and then you make it longer, the length you want the outside radius, and draw with the pencil and the string and the nail, and then cut it out with the old jigsaw and leave a bit at the ends. So this is one board and this is another board, and put them together like that, and just some B&Q, I don't know what it's actually called on the shelf, but you know, metal plates with holes in. They're already pre-drilled. I just bought these off the shelf, and just nuts and bolts. There is another plate underneath for strength. Just nuts and bolts holding that together, so that's not going anywhere. And so far all I've done is just put a screw in there to hold the top bit. This is about the right height for the middle, so it's about 50 mil off the deck, and I'll just screw this down to this bit of board that I found. I'll put a strengthening beam under here, screw that to here, probably chop it off here because it doesn't need to be there, and get some track glued down to it. I've ripped the old test track off because it was the 12-inch radius, which is the inside. I may as well use the widest sort of part of the board possible. So that's the plan for that. And there is the progress. So very simply just put some blocks of wood in to prop it up at the right height at various stages. So it's a nice smooth path down. Another one there and there, and finally we hit the deck over there. So as you can see, I've laid the track on there as well, right around the edge, nice wide radius, and whizzes around there, comes out there, and just comes out from under the board there, so that it doesn't hit it there, because the screws stick out the bottom there. Time for a test. So it's a fairly realistic speed. You can see it does actually get pushed. I mean, it's a pretty extreme example because this is the least wheels that are ever going to be on the loco, unless I get an 040, I suppose. But despite being pushed down the hill, it doesn't derail. Now let's try going back upwards. As I've said, I've planned it so that nothing ever needs to go back up this helix. It can just go around the other way. But let's just give it a try. So that's full beans. Poor little 060. It's doing it. But then it stops. Just try it with a couple. Just for kicks. Oh, so close. Oh, it's done it. Wow. Let's try a high speed run with the Deltic. Nothing should really be going that fast down there, so I think we'll call that a success. I reckon the Deltic can go back up if I can get it back on the track. Deltic power. Easy. Okay, a couple of small changes to the plan. The first, just this area here. So this line loops down the helix, and the idea was that it landed here, and then there's this sort of wiggly bit, which is because if a train were to reverse out of here, and it was quite a long train, it would need this space so that it doesn't start going up the helix and get stuck, because this is quite steep. However, if I load the new plan, we've actually, instead of hitting the ground here, we've actually sort of hit the level, the lower level here. So we've got all this flat sort of level track there. So basically we don't need this curve. So this can be shorter. The fiddle yard can start earlier, and the lines for the fiddle yard can be longer, so it's more storage, and just neatened up the way it goes. I've made it straight along here because there's a beam here, and I've pushed it this way a bit because these will have point motors on, and obviously there's got to be space underneath for the point motor to sit, so it can't sit on the beam itself. So I've just moved it down a tiny bit. It's only sort of 50 mil or so. So tidied up the fiddle yard a bit, as I say, and then this is the line that will loop round and start rising again. Now the other change relates to some real life train videos that I've been watching. I recently subscribed to Sharpo's World YouTube channel, and there's a lot of spotting videos from around the Midlands, which are going to be absolutely invaluable when I start sort of building rakes of trains and start modelling scenery and stuff, because there's just loads of information on sort of what sort of trains would pass through Kidderminster and so on here, and also some videos of the Severn Valley line. And this is, as you can see from the title, the Severn Valley Railway diesel depot that they're currently building, and that's as it was very recently, so they've not quite finished it yet. I won't show too much of the video for copyright reasons, but just wanted to give you a quick glance at that, because that is a new building, and that is, if we look at the new plan, there roughly, so you've got the turntable and they're building it there as a sort of storage, diesel depot and storage. So if we go across a bit, so this isn't set in stone yet, but as soon as it is there, and it probably will be finished by the time I get to actually doing some scenery on this bit, I thought I'd put it in the plan. I always got the option to model it as it used to be, which is just the turntable and the lines and loads of sort of locos and carriages waiting to be restored over there. But yeah, seeing as it is supposed to represent the Severn Valley Railway as it is now, I thought I'd put it in the plan. And I've also made it a bit more usable in terms of a loco can come off here into this new bit and then back into the siding, rather than that wasn't there before, so there's not really any way of actually getting a loco into that yard. I was thinking maybe it could just literally just be a scenic area with a non-working turntable and just old locos and carriages that I'd weathered up to look really as though they were in need of restoring. But now I'm thinking I might actually make it more of a usable area, and we can have stuff going back into here, onto the turntable and into the diesel depot. But as I say, it's not set in stone yet. We'll cross that bridge or that turntable when we come to it. So I've made some more progress, laid a bit more track, and let me show you. So this line comes, there's the other main line that goes down onto the Helix, and I've now got that going way off into the distance. So I've got track up to here. This will be where it branches off and then comes back into Kidderminster station. This will just be a branch off that splits into two, and it's just sidings by Kidderminster, the mainline station. And this is a crossover from one line to the other, which is where there is a crossover in reality. And I've gone on. Now remember, this inner line, it's got the Helix going down that end, and the trains will come up this end, so you can see here I've started to gradually slope it down, and this is all powered and stuck down further and further down. We've got to here, this is all powered but obviously not glued down yet, so I think we need to give that slope a test, because the trains do need to come up this slope. Okay, poor little panniers earning his corn, but as the sort of least, you know, the engine with the least amount of traction, it is a good test for this sort of thing. Track needs a bit of a clean, I think. 6 coaches. easily copes with that slope. It's roughly 1 in 100, and I'm very relieved to see that happening, because it means I can pull locos out of the fiddle yard, which is going to be here, and send them round here, and they'll go around there and up to the same level as that, and then I can run them on these main lines or cross them over onto the Severn Valley line, which will be here, and run them back here. So that's all working well. So it's 29 degrees C outside. It's creeping up above 35 in here now. However, it's good in a way because, you know, this sort of temperature would highlight any problems with buckling track, and so far all seems to be well. So I think if it was gonna cause any problems, it would be exactly a day like today that would cause the problems. So that's encouraging. Well, I've run out of boards. I've run out of MDF for now, so I need a board for here to get to the fiddle yard, and that'll be one long board over there. Still got a bit of track left. As you can see, I've got enough to go around there and probably complete this sloping up loop. Need another board for there, so I can probably get that done with the track I've got, and then I don't think I'll even need another full box of track, because I've got some wooden sleeper track left as well. I've got about 7 yards of that, so should be able to do quite a bit with that track. What I do need is 20 more points, so I'll have to get those ordered. So yeah, I could probably sort of put all the points down, and then when I do run out of straight track or flexi track, I can work out how much I need, and sort of it's easier to connect flexi track bits together rather than doing the points last and trying to fit the points in. The best to get the points down first where they need to be, and then work backwards with the flexi track. So we're getting there. Still this sloping loop to finish, and the Severn Valley loop to put in, but definitely making progress. Did work out that the outer loop here, the one that goes currently over the bridge, the outside loop is actually a mile in N gauge. It's a scale mile long, so I've probably laid 2 miles of track up to this point, and still got another 1.5 miles or 2 to go, I think. So that's the joy of big layouts. It's going to be awesome when it's when the track's laid though, and I get to run trains all around it. Can't wait to do that. And still in desperate need of a tidy up, as you can see, but we'll do that when the track's laid and the sawing is finished. So that's all I've got for you for now. Hope you enjoyed the update. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.